Hello everyone and welcome back to the Lens Studio Physics game tutorial series. In this video we are going to add a face to our soccer ball as well as some physics. If your project doesn't look like this one, feel free to download the project from the first video in the link below. The first thing we're going to do is add some face insets to the scene. So I'm going to click the plus icon in the scene hierarchy and search for the face inset. And then I'm going to drag it into the soccer ball parent and I'm going to zero out all of the position values so that it is at the very center of the soccer ball. And you'll see that it doesn't exactly look like a mouth, and that's because we need to change the texture from the screen texture to the device camera texture. Now let's increase the scale a little bit just so that it fills in more of the soccer ball. Now I'm going to select the move tool and I'm going to start moving the face inset a little bit more forward and down on the soccer ball so that it looks like a better position for the mouth. That looks pretty good. So I'm going to actually rename it to mouth. And then I'm going to duplicate it. I'm going to rename this one left eye, and then I'm going to select the left eye for the face region. And then I'm going to move that up to the top left. And I'll actually also increase the Y scale just to make it taller. And then I'll duplicate that, rename it right eye, and then change the face region to right eye as well. And I'm just going to move it to the opposite side of the x-axis. I'm going to make it a position of 5, and then the left eye is going to be -5. And then I'll just do some fine tuning of the positions here, and we can check to see how it looks by clicking the soccer parent, selecting the rotate tool, and then rotating around to see how it looks. It looks like it's a little bit too far in the soccer ball, so I'm going to actually move the eyes outward a little bit. And that looks pretty good. So now let's add some physics. I'm going to click on the soccer ball parent object, and I'm going to click Add Component in the Inspector panel, and then I will find the physics body and add that. And now we're going to click Show Collider so that we can see where the collider is showing up. And I'm not seeing it, so we're probably going to have to uncheck Fit Visual. And let's adjust the radius. So it's clearly too small. So if I go to 50, yep, it's way too big. I'm going to go down to 10. Okay, 15 is still too big. Let's just adjust until we get it to look exactly like the soccer ball. So 11 is pretty close. And 10 is too small, so let's go with 10.5. And that looks perfect. Now you can see when we reset the scene, the soccer ball will immediately start falling, but it'll just keep falling infinitely. So we need to add a ground collision here so that it hits the ground. So I'm going to add a box to the scene, and I'm going to rename it ground. And then I'm going to adjust the position and the scale of it so that it matches up with the soccer ball and it will fall in the right place. Great. Now we are going to add a physics collider instead. Since this isn't going to need to move, we just need it to be a collision. And then I'm going to select the type as box, and it should automatically fit the visual perfectly. So that's great. Now when we hit reset lens, we'll see that the soccer ball falls right down on the ground. The only problem is it's not very realistic. It doesn't bounce at all, and we want it to bounce. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to go back to the soccer ball's physics body, and we're going to click on the matter, and then we're going to add a physics matter. And I'm going to rename that to ball physics. In that, we're going to increase the bounciness and adjust the spinning friction, the rolling friction, and the static bounciness a little bit. And we'll probably adjust this later, but just for now, you can see that now it adds a little bit of a bounce to it, so it's more realistic. And that's perfect. The next step is we need to make the ground plane invisible. So I'm going to add an empty material, and I'm just going to call it invisible. And then what I'm going to do is just turn off the RGB and A values as well as the depth right, and that's just going to make it an invisible material. And then I'm going to add that material to the box. And there we go. Now we have an invisible ground plane, and it looks like the soccer ball is bouncing on the ground in the background. We can also adjust the height here to make it look a little bit more realistic. And that looks pretty good to me. So I think that is it for this video. And I'm just going to clean up the asset browser so that everything is nice and organized. In the next video, we are going to add the collision object that the users can control by swiping on the screen. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you in the next one.